Every night, at exactly 9 p.m. the swing in the old schoolyard starts to move. No wind. No one there. The gates have been locked for 15 years. This is the story of the one night someone finally answered it. My name doesn't matter. What matters is the house I grew up in, the one right across the street from Millbrook Elementary. It shut down before I was even born. Cracked windows. Ivy eating through the brick. The kind of building parents point at and say, "Don't go near there," without ever explaining why. Everyone in town knew the story. Or some version of it. A swing that moves on its own. A sound, faint, almost like humming, if you stood close enough to the fence at night. I wasn't the only one who'd heard it. A few kids from school swore they'd seen it too, a shape on the swing, gone the second you blinked. Most of them never went back a second time. One kid, a year above me, said he got close enough to the fence once that the humming stopped completely, like it knew he was there. He never talked about it again after that. I never believed it. Not really. I was 12, and I liked proof more than I liked ghost stories. So one night, I sat by my window with the lights off, and I watched. At 9 o'clock exactly, the swing moved. I told myself it was the wind. I told myself that for 3 nights in a row. By the 4th night, I stopped telling myself anything, and I climbed through the gap in the fence. The playground was smaller than I remembered from old photos in the town archive. Weeds had pushed up through the concrete. And there, moving just slightly, back and forth, was the swing. I didn't see him at first. Not clearly. Just an outline, pale, thin, like static caught in the shape of a boy. He couldn't have been older than 10. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't reaching for me. He was just sitting there, humming something low, something old, like a rhyme I almost recognized but couldn't place. I should have run. I know that now. But he looked up at me, and there was nothing cruel in his face. Just tired. Just waiting. I stood there longer than I meant to. Long enough that when I finally checked my phone, it was almost 11. 2 hours had passed and I couldn't account for a single minute of it. That was the first time it really scared me, not the boy on the swing, but the way time had just disappeared while I watched him. The next day, I went to the library instead of school. I found a yearbook from 30 years back, water-stained, half the pages stuck together. And there, in the 3rd grade class photo, one face was circled in fading red pen. A boy. Same build. Same quiet eyes. Underneath, someone had written a single word, missing. I asked the librarian. She didn't want to talk about it at first, but she remembered enough. Her hands stopped moving over the returns cart when I said his name out loud. She didn't answer right away. She just looked at me for a second too long, the way adults do when they're deciding how much of the truth a kid can actually handle. "You shouldn't go looking for him," she said finally. "Some things are better left tired." I asked her what she meant by that. She didn't explain. She just went back to sorting books, and I understood I wasn't going to get anything else out of her that day. But she did tell me one more thing, quieter than the rest, like she hadn't meant to say it out loud at all. A boy who stayed behind after school one evening to wait for his older brother, who was supposed to walk him home. The brother forgot. Got caught up somewhere else. By the time anyone thought to check the playground, there was nothing there but an empty swing, still moving. He was never found. Not a trace. The town searched for weeks, then months, then quietly stopped. That night, I went home and kept digging, this time through my own grandfather's old things, boxed up in the attic. What I found there changed everything. The boy, Daniel, according to the diary I found, really had been waiting for his older brother that night. But he hadn't just gone missing. Buried in an old police report was a single line nobody seemed to have taken seriously. A neighbor reported seeing an unfamiliar car near the schoolyard that same night. The investigation never went further. By the next morning, the school board had already announced their conclusion, that he must have wandered off and drowned in the river. and the case was closed before anyone thought to check the car, or the neighbor's account, or anything at all. Daniel stayed there, by that swing, because his body was never found, and the truth about what happened to him never came out either. He wasn't waiting for his brother anymore. He was waiting for someone to finally ask what actually happened. Which raised a question I couldn't ignore: why me? Everyone else in town only ever felt his presence. He never spoke to any of them. The answer was in the last page of my grandfather's diary, tucked next to an old photograph. My grandfather, young, in the same school uniform, standing beside another boy. Daniel. They'd been friends. The closest kind, right up until that last day. My grandfather wasn't Daniel's brother. But he was the one who told Daniel, "Wait here, I'll be right back," that night, and then, scared and confused by something he never explained, never went back. He carried that alone for the rest of his life, and never told a single person. Daniel spoke to me because I carried that same blood, that same unfinished promise, whether I'd asked for it or not. He wasn't waiting for me. He was waiting for my grandfather. And I was the closest thing left. I went back that night. 9 o'clock. And there he was again. I didn't run this time. I walked up, slow, and I sat down on the swing next to his. He looked at me, really looked, like no one had looked back at him in 30 years. I didn't say anything at first. I didn't know what you're supposed to say to someone who's been waiting since before your parents were even married. So I just said, "I'm here now." For a long moment, nothing happened. The wind didn't move. The humming didn't stop. I started to think maybe I'd gotten it wrong, that showing up wasn't going to be enough. Then, slowly, the air around him seemed to settle, like something that had been holding its breath for 30 years finally let it go. He didn't answer. But the humming stopped. And for the first time, the swing beside me moved the way a normal swing moves, pushed by someone who was simply enjoying the motion, not trapped in it. We stayed like that for a long time. Two kids on two swings, in a playground that technically didn't exist anymore, saying nothing at all. I think that's what he needed. Not to be found. Not to be saved. Just for someone to finally show up. When I checked my phone, it was almost 11. I don't remember 2 hours passing. The outline beside me was gone. The swing was still. I walked home slowly, and for the first time since I was a kid, the street felt quiet in a good way, not an empty way. The next morning, before school, I went back one more time. I left something small on the seat of the swing, a toy car, the kind any 10-year-old might have carried around in his pocket. I never saw him again after that night. But sometimes, when I walk past that old fence, I swear the swing is a little less rusted than it should be, like someone's still taking care of it. Like someone finally did. Subscribe. Hit the bell icon. The next mystery is waiting. Not every room stays quiet once someone finally listens. Some place their light behind locked doors, in buildings no one visits anymore, waiting for someone patient enough to notice. There's a hospital on the edge of another town. A room that's been dark for 20 years. Except for one window, that never quite goes out. No one knows what that room is waiting for. But whoever goes looking will find out, some truths are just as dangerous 20 years later. The next story, Room 4. Coming soon.